Hey, what's up guys, TechTime here and I'm back again with a brand new video. Before I begin, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you do enjoy my video, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, today I'm going to be finally doing my camera review on the 2025 Moto Razr. And this is Motorola's budget look at what a flip device should be. So it starts at $699, which for the flip devices world, it's actually in the mid-range of things. A lot of them starts at $1,000, so there's that. Now, from a camera perspective, this phone still has a dual camera setup similar to a previous generation, but they did update a couple of things. So the main sensor is a 50 megapixel f1, and it does have optical image stabilization. You also get an ultra wide sensor at 13 megapixel. This phone also capable of shooting 4K at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 30, 60 or 120 frames per second, and for video it does use the gyro electronic image stabilization for more stabilized video. The selfie camera is a 32 megapixel selfie camera that's improved upon the previous generation, and it does shoot video at 4K as well as 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second. Now, as far as the camera experience itself, it's just what you would expect from Motorola. It's very quick, very simplistic, and you have a lot of different modes and a lot of different options that you can choose from. So other than your photo video, you all even have really a lot of options. It does have a night mode that comes with it, as well as a pro mode that allows you to control a lot of parameters like white balance, ISO, exposure, and even focus, even shutter speed as well. It may not be something that a lot of people will use, but it's there if you really want to have more control over your camera parameters. In addition to that, they also still have this kind of, when you tilt your phone to almost a 90-degree angle, it allows you to set it up almost kind of a phone stand, if you will, and on the bottom half you have a lot of your parameters and a lot of your control to switch between your photo, video, your ultra wide, your macro sensor, or even your kind of digital 2x sensor, and you can just take advantage of it. I haven't really found myself using it that much, but it's definitely there if you need it. So Motorola decided to even add some more camera capability and ways to launch the camera, which is in the secondary 3.5-inch screen. So you can still use that double twist to launch the camera, and on the secondary screen, if you're not really satisfied with this camera's 32 megapixel selfie, you have your main 50 megapixel to take some even more crispy selfies. And it does have gesture control that I found work fairly well. They're not the most accurate, but when they do work, they're efficient. So that's that. And you can control a couple of things. It's limited though, so it's not going to be as more feature and control heavy as when you have the phone folded up. Now I want to actually flip the topic of conversation and talk about the main thing that you guys are here for, which is image quality, video quality, and nighttime. So let's start with image quality itself. So this phone does take some really solid pictures, and they're definitely better than the previous generation. So Motorola did improve upon that. And so the pictures that come out of this phone are actually sharp, almost overly sharp, which is something that I will discuss later on. But in some scenarios, this phone does take almost kind of, the color is not the most accurate thing on this phone, but it definitely is saturated. Now, as far as the sharpness story goes, in some scenarios it doesn't work like this one, which kind of puts everything in focus and makes everything in the picture really sharp, which can be distracting. But in other scenarios like this one, I mean, having the whole picture sharp would work perfectly. Taking pictures of landscapes and buildings and things like that would work really well on this phone, so it does have some balanced dynamic range. And again, in sharpness and detail, this phone will have you on lock, so that's definitely pretty good. And I really enjoy taking pictures of random buildings, the shadows, and the way that, for example, this picture here, you see the trees and the shadow and the sky. They're very well balanced. Not the best thing that I've ever seen, but it's definitely pretty good. And they did have HDR on most of the times. And so if I were to sort of nitpick and complain, I would say that the contrast, and in some scenarios that don't require images of the sky, the dynamic range can be a hit or miss, especially when you don't have HDR turned on. So the shadows and contrast are not the most accurate thing in the world. And even comparing the main sensor to the ultra wide, you will definitely see a loss in quality, which is to be expected. You're comparing a 15 megapixel to a 13 megapixel. And so the ultra wide is really good. It's better than the previous generation, but it still lacks in quality. Now, if I were to switch the topic to nighttime, this phone does have a night vision mode, but it's so aggressive and over sharpening. It almost looks like an AI image. So not the best. I don't really like it. And With that being said, flipping it back to the conversation, I want to speak on the selfie camera. Selfie camera, your actual selfie camera, the 32 megapixel sensor is actually pretty good. If you want better selfies, then you can use your main sensor. For example, this picture, you'll definitely see a much improved quality. So I will most definitely use the main sensor for my selfies on this particular phone. The nighttime on the 32 megapixel selfie camera, when you use the flash, which basically increases the entire screen's brightness to a max, it's very balanced, and I really thought that it did a much better job than having the flash or the peak brightness on this front of the screen turned off. So definitely thumbs up for that. As far as video quality goes, I would like you guys to watch the video quality and I'll get back to you with some words. It's not the best, but just watch it. Hey, what's up guys, TechTime here, and this is the video test of the brand new Moto Razr. So basically this is essentially the basic version of the Moto Razr, not the Razr Plus or the Razr Ultra, but I feel like it's doing a much better job year after year in improving the camera quality. If you're shooting at 1080p, you can switch between your main and your ultra wide simultaneously. You can go to the selfie camera, so you cannot really go to the selfie camera like you could on other Samsung devices, but yeah, so there's a noticeable loss in quality when you switch to the wide angle, and when you go back to the main sensor, a much more saturated, better quality look. So it's an improved version. This is at 1080p. If you move to 4K, it becomes much harder to switch between your main sensor and your ultra wide, so keep that in mind. And it's kind of windy, so I wonder how good the audio sounds like. So this is a look at the selfie camera from the main display, not from the secondary display. Obviously the secondary display will give you the main camera as your selfie camera, which still doesn't even look half bad. It's not as good, but it does the job. So I do have to say that the video quality is good. It's not the best, especially for a $700 device. However, I mean, at the end of the day, this phone is not meant for the camera. The camera is not the priority of this phone, but the video quality is decent. It's definitely slightly improved on the previous generation, but the colors on the video are very different than the ones when you take actual pictures. So that's something that I wanted to also mention. The microphone is pretty good. The focusing system can also be pretty inconsistent at times, but it's overall though decent. So with all the information that I just shared with you guys, would you feel like this phone's camera system is enough for you to upgrade from the previous generation to the current generation? My personal opinion is no, but it's definitely welcome improvements. So with that being said, I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on this phone's camera. Do you think that it's worth it? It's not worth it? You could find something better. You can definitely find something better for $700, but yeah, let me know. If you're strictly on the camera department, this phone might not be for you. So with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will definitely catch you guys in the next one.